Oh, we're fucking back, yo. What is happening, everybody? Welcome. Welcome back. I mean, welcome back to us all. It's been a while. The OG crew is out in force. I see you all. How are you all doing? Jesus. This was a stressful setup, I'm not gonna lie. It was a stressful setup, and obviously moved house, new chapter, new content, all the good stuff. You might see Thor walking around in the background. You might see his eyes sort of reflect back at you. Don't be scared. All right, just give me 1 minute. All right, so obviously y'all know what we're here to talk about, but I'm doing something a little bit different this evening. We're going to have some chitty chats, and when I'm kind of doing the lives, I'm going to cut the music and present the meat, if you will, and then take the series, download it, cut it up, cut out all the bits that aren't really relevant to the topic, add in some cuts and news reports and things like this, and really elevate what was the live stream into some content. So yeah, but yeah, listen, I'm excited. I'm nervous, but we got this. Who have we got here? It's literally the old crew. James Nutt, what's happening? Dean, Damien, what's happening? Miranda, Tatar, Indian Martial Arts, Beck, Heather, Kayla, Randy, Charlotte, Crazy Bunny, what is happening? Shane, Tinker, what's happening? Arkman, Tash, Jeremy K, fucking hell, Jeremy, it's been a while. Donna, Beeslar, it's fucking everyone. James, what's happening, everyone? I hope you're all well. Moxo, Alyssa, everyone that I'm missing, what is happening? I'm not nervous. I'm just trying to project some humanity of myself here. So I've got some new content coming. Some might say it's been in the works for years. And I've got a new website. So first thing I'd like to do is just take you into how we're going to be presenting content from now on. So this is projectrook.com. This is where you're going to basically find everything that's happening with the content, with the channel. Everything will be here. So think of projectrook.com before you think of the YouTube channel. Anything ever happens to the YouTube channel, you know where to find me. If we scroll through this, there's a Predators Exposed Surviving Life video, which is my last upload. If you've not seen that, give it a watch. We've got tonight's show. Whoa. And of course, the wonderful Phil Chalmers. We've got, there's so much fat news about Phil Chalmers that I can't talk about. There's so much fat news about a lot of things, and we'll get to it all. But next big project, obviously, is the conclusion of the Deca Hegi Profiling Deca series. It's an interesting one, and it's a new take on how I present information as well. But here is where you can find all of the old content. If you guys want to go and binge Surviving Life content, it's all here. All laid out, all nicey nice, super easy. It's a good time. And of course, we've got the Phil Chalmers content. Go and check that out too. Lots of interesting serial killer stuff. But that's where we're at, projectrook.com. Make sure that you check that out. Check that out, check that out. Right, okay. Have I pushed the right button? Yes, yes I have. So Balenciaga, we're gonna get started on this in just a minute. But I hope everybody's well. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy, what, 18 months? It's been a while. And after this, we'll be jumping onto Twitch and testing out the game and streaming as well. But I think we should just jump into this. I think everyone's kind of ready for us to get back to it. Okay, so Balenciaga, Spanish, huge. Hang on a second. I forgot to turn the music off. That was my bad. Hang on a second. Pause that shit. So Balenciaga, their 23 campaign, 23 of course being 2023, and their launches for that year, last week presented their marketing tools. They presented multiple marketing tools. They've also done some crazy stuff on a runway during their fashion shows, and we're going to dive into that. But the main point of this series is to really shed some light on this whole pedo chic genre, right? The fashion industry has been guilty of it for years. We know this. There's been so many things that have come close to the line and crossed the line for decades, not to mention Hollywood and the film industry and how they have exploited child actors, and the abuse they've suffered. So there's some interesting points that I want to discuss in this, because we're going to be delving into Balenciaga, and we're also going to be delving really deep into France, the entire country, their laws, some loopholes that seem to have allowed predators, you know what I'm saying, to sort of run rampant and have free will over France's children. It's very disturbing. It's a very disturbing delve, and we're going to cover this over the 3 nights, just so that, you know, I can get back into the swing of things. Okay, so we're going to just cut to the first article, and we're going to just sort of look at this campaign that Balenciaga was really called out for massively. This is on November 21st. Now, the pedo chic Balenciaga new ad campaign features children holding bondage, deer, and teddy bears. Now, there's obviously an issue with this. We had an issue with a very similar thing with Balenciaga, a child modeling agency out of Yugoslavia that we exposed. They were guilty of children holding riding crops and floggers and all kinds of BDSM gear, whereas Balenciaga have featured their handbags that are presented this way. And what's really interesting is the photographer choice and the work of the photographer, and how, if I'm being honest with you, Balenciaga have hung this photographer out to dry. Now, we're not going to argue over whether the photographer had power and control over a Balenciaga campaign. The sets were handed to him, and we're going to look into his artwork and the things that he's done before. What's happening, CJ? What's happening? So People were outraged by this, rightfully so. These are children. This is clearly taking it to the line as far as sexualization and glorifying sexualization of children in fashion and around the world, because you gotta remember, Balenciaga is one of these brands that is a fashion industry brand, but it's also a hype beast brand. Influencers and YouTubers love this gear. You know, it's a massive flex, and it really interests me when a story like this breaks, and we see when a story like this breaks and we see the internet outrage, okay? How people respond to things, how they choose to unsubscribe, unfollow, and how cancel culture has worked for years online. And we look at what happens to creators. For example, the Shane Dawson situation, where he was effectively completely cancelled, rightfully so. He's back now, surprisingly. But when creators fall into this hole of taking things too close to the edge, it's usually an overnight cancellation. Whereas with companies like Balenciaga, you would think that there would have been more of a vocal boycott from people with a voice. Now, there was some celebrities that came forward and they were denouncing Balenciaga and taking photos down. But the fact of the matter is, when the next Balenciaga check arrives, right, with that handbag, how many people are going to be able to resist stepping back into the promotion limelight for a company like Balenciaga? That's what we need to watch. That's what we need to see, because companies that are so big that they feel like they can't take accountability for things like this is wrong. There's countries that do this. There's infrastructures within countries, religious groups, businesses that all seem to summarize their wrongdoings with 3 simple words, and that's always, "We sincerely apologize." Well, we're not talking about an accident that you sincerely apologize for. This isn't a situation where somebody has turned a corner and run someone down and you can apologize for it. We're talking about a multi-million dollar or multi-million euro advertising campaign with multiple stages of approval. That's what we need to understand. Focusing on the photographer it's the wrong place to put your thoughts and push for your views to be heard, because companies like Balenciaga need to be held responsible for the systems they have in place that shouldn't allow this to happen. People have literally looked at this concept and signed off on it, and they need to be held accountable for that. Okay, so just before we continue delving into this, we're mainly focusing on Balenciaga in Paris. We're going to be doing a lot of focus on France, mainly because they are one of the epicenters for fashion. They're one of the epicenters for having loopholes in their laws. And I think some of you are going to be sickened as we progress through this as to just how at risk kids have been for decades. This goes way back beyond since the 50s. And it's awful. It's awful wherever it happens. But to have a country as prestigious as France within the EU have laws that I don't want to say too much, I'm skipping ahead too much here, but there's laws in place that have allowed tragedies to happen in France, and we will be moving on to that. Now, the outcry, the outrage about Balenciaga, people calling them out, it wasn't just these images. Now, I just want to remind you of the initial 23 campaign, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about the photographer just for a minute. So you can see it's a little girl and a little girl standing, and in front of them is all kinds of items, okay? All products from Balenciaga's range, and they're arranged in a semicircle in front of the girls. You can kind of get an idea for it here, right? And it looks weird. It looks really strange, you know, and we're not about to sit here and just, you know, justify the actions of the photographer in any way. But I want to show you this photographer. Okay, this is one of the photographers that was this was the photographer responsible for the shots that you've seen with the little girl. That's the wrong button. There we go. So we look at his site. This is his photography site. There's nothing here that screams, I just photograph kids. But there is one thing that is very prominent within all of his photographs, is this theme of presenting something that is meaningful or that is part of your life and standing behind it and presenting it. And then having multiple people from different walks of life present that same item. And we're going to delve into the ones that's most likely to link to the Balenciaga, which is the kids. So you can see this series of photographs. Now, it's a massive contrast when you have a child presenting toys that we recognize, and then we start seeing kids from around the world in different walks of life presenting things. And I think it's a really interesting series of photographs. And this isn't just present in this series of photographs, it's present across all of his photographs. So I believe personally that he's turned up on the day, all of this has been laid out for him, and effectively he's just been told to point and click. Now, it doesn't forgive the marketing campaign, but it certainly isn't the genius and mastermind of a photographer who's turned up and started putting all these things out. In my opinion, anyway, it's not. So, I'm not defending the photographer. I'm just presenting the facts. I just feel like Balenciaga's marketing team, the team that's in front of their public image, the people that signed off on this are the ones that need to be held accountable. Now, some of you are going to be sort of saying to yourself, well, maybe it was the photographer, Ron. How do we know it wasn't something that was done in-house? And we're going to just have a quick look at a tweet of another image that has some props in it that should be branded Balenciaga. We're just going to check these out. Okay. So somebody pointed out that it was a bit weird having crime tape and caution tape next to a ski mask. Okay, I mean, sure. It's a bit weird in the fact that it seems to be surrounded by children's books and childlike items. One moment. But what's even more interesting is they seem to have misspelt Balenciaga on the tape, and the internet has thrown out some theories that this is basically a misspelling on purpose to represent Baal, which is B-A-A-L, Baal. And there's been all sorts of talks about ancient beings that you would sacrifice children to and all this kind of stuff. And there are those things, and those things have popped up throughout many elitist exposés, shall we say. One of them being Moloch, a giant owl, which was, what the hell was it called? At Bohemia Grove, years ago, before crazy Alex Jones happened, and we had sort of regular Alex Jones. He exposed that, and it was insane. So Baal, what is Baal? Who is Baal? You can search the internet, you'll find all kinds of different versions of Baal. I'm not going to touch on it. I'm not going to tell you which is right or wrong because I'm not really interested. But what is interesting is somebody ordered this. Somebody at Balenciaga went, listen, we're going to just misspell the entire brand that we're representing in this multi-million euro photo shoot. Do you mind signing off on it, please? No problem. Do you see what I'm saying? That, to me, is damning evidence. You know? Thank you, our Y guy. I will get a bit more chatty just in a minute as we go through this, everybody. So we've got this first set of images, these two girls, this BDSM gear. We've got this very suspicious tape with the misspelling. We have all kinds of people losing their minds online about this, and rightfully so. But there was a second set of images, okay? And this is part of the Adidas campaign. Balenciaga do a collaboration with Adidas, and there was some massive oddities pointed out in that, and that was a different photographer than the photographer that we've already looked at. So I'm just checking bandwidth stuff. Now I'm just pulling up the in fact, do you know what, I'm going to get a little bit chatty now while I pull up this next set of images. So let me just grab the music for a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so just bear with me 1 minute. Oh, here we go. All right. Thank you for waiting there. Hang on a minute. That's not the right one. It's a tune as well. Nice one. Oh yeah, okay, nice. Yeah, I've just been sent some more images by one of the production team. It's just ever damning. When you guys watch this back, you'll be able to see these images. But basically, it's another ad campaign, except we've got the bear over in the corner this time. Really good shout for that. Now, the second set of images, that wasn't them, that was just a little extra moment there. One second. All right, I'm not going to waste any more of your time waiting for me to look for this. So the second set of images, which will be on the screen if you're watching this back, they're from the Adidas 23 collaboration, and they feature a handbag on a table that is sitting on a pile of printed out papers with text on it. And that text is from a Supreme Court justice case on child abuse material, if you will. Now, how does that end up in a photo shoot? It's a hell of a lot easier to slip in there if you're a photographer than it would be to rearrange an entire set. So it raises questions for me on that side. Now, there was also names of individuals on books. There was a lot of telltale warning signs that this pedophile chic, this taking it close to the edge, this acknowledgement of activities like that with children is being condoned subconsciously in these marketing campaigns. We see it all the time. I just got sent a screenshot from the Tinkerbell movie where there's a guy with the symbol, you know what symbol I'm talking about, on his nose. And we're going to be covering them. And we're going to be covering that, I should say. Yeah, if you guys could all like up the stream, that would be great. And if you can share it, that'd be awesome too. So, Balenciaga obviously issued statements. They were very publicly apologetic, as we've covered. Is that the right one? Oh, no. There we go. But the fact that this wording is used here, Balenciaga apologizes for kinky ad featuring children and harness-wearing teddy bears. All of these news reports and all of the people posting online about this are all saying, oh, thank you very, very much for that, are all saying the same thing. It's outrageous. It's disgusting. It shouldn't be happening. So why exactly did it happen? Again, you need to remember this isn't an accidental death. This isn't law enforcement out of control. This is a massive company with infrastructures to prevent stuff like this from happening. And they've let it happen. And they've not just let it happen once, they've let it happen multiple times. Now, anything that comes in this evening from the production team that I've missed, or anything that I should have posted, I will start off with that tomorrow night, and when we come to edit it together, it'll all flow. So I'm just going to jump into some photographs. So bear with me 1 second, because this is an Instagram account that has been covering this really, really well, and the posts. Let me just bring these up. Anyone obviously that wants to go and check this out for themselves, they can do. There's actually one page I'm not going to feature because they're not, abuse images of a such. They're just, I don't want to show these images. So the Instagram account is Amir Redek Sodom. I'm going to just put that up on the screen here. Where's the button? Here we go. Okay, so just to give you evidence, public outcry, the fact that people are losing their minds, as you can imagine. Influencers, large and small, have been taken to their platforms to show their outrage. And you can see the names here and the papers that I just mentioned, as well as the Adidas collab. Now, this is Supreme Court Justice documents on abuse content. Space Marine. We'll get to where I've been at the end of this. But Adidas, you would think to themselves, wouldn't you? You would think that Adidas would step away. You would think that there would be a lot more massive platformed companies, in the same way as people rush to their platforms to complain and to have their voices when it comes to creators and cancel culture. Why is mainstream not adopted that? Why are companies not standing their ground when things like this happen? I mean, we all know why, because of that money. So there's some very disturbing artwork that was linked to some of these names. Some of it can be seen being displayed, but I've got some better examples of it, and it's shocking. Now, we're going to give another example here, which was Balenciaga's catwalk shows, their fashion shows, displaying bloodied babies, children in suffering. And again, this abuse, child abuse chic, this pedophile chic, this torture chic, this necrophilia chic, all these elements are combined here. Yeah, they do, buddy, they do, yeah, 100%. To be honest though, I think a lot of the time people are outraged, and the things that we know as the correct terms. They've just not established that to themselves yet, if that makes sense. So, we've established the fact that obviously people are outraged. We've established the fact that these are incredibly suspicious and these sort of images shouldn't be allowed to happen. And I'll tell you something else. When we look at this image here, like, the way this little girl is standing and looking into the camera is, it just feels odd to me. It feels really, really odd. That's a personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? There's no crime against odd. But it just, you know, you'd think there would be a little bit more pep and life, you know, required in the shot, if that makes sense. I just thought I'd point that out. Again, it's just a personal note there. Now, we will continue on each night with a section about Balenciaga and how this is a repeated pattern with them. It's the first night back. I'm trying to do the best I can. But what do you guys think? Okay, I'm going to quickly refill my glass. So a couple of minutes. I want to hear what you guys think in the side chat right now so that I can post it in the video. What are your opinions on a company like Balenciaga not having an infrastructure in place to identify and catch this sort of thing? And do you think they're the ones who should be held responsible? How do you feel about all of this? Tell me in the side chat. I'm going to go and get a drink. We'll be 2 minutes and then we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm just having a smoke on my shig. I'm just going to check it with some of your comments as well. Yeah, Christina, Twinker, sorry. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. The edgelords don't give a fuck about what right and wrong. Well, this is the thing. There's edgelords and fucking being edgy fucking 10 years ago on Reddit as a fucking edgelord, and then there's massive companies like this who cross the line and set standards. And that's the thing, you know? Yeah, Phoenix, you kind of summed it up there, mate. What's happening, Randall? So, we will be we'll be touching on this more, but the fashion industry, the epicenter that is France. France has had a repeating pattern of pushing things to the limit, and not just in the fashion industry. I think a lot of you can remember a Netflix film that created massive public outrage, and I don't think you need any reminding of it. Now, we covered this. We covered this when it was happening, and it's very strange because I had pinned my hopes on Netflix finding a film that was outrageous like this, promoting a trailer of it, and then banning it from the public outrage and just using it as a marketing wave and being the heroes. That was what I thought they were going to do, okay? So when we apply bad press and then being the hero as a marketing, structure, Balenciaga, are they just wanting to ride a wave? Is this what it takes in mainstream now in order to create a wave? Because I've never spoken about Balenciaga before, and I've never said Balenciaga so much in my life since I found out about this. Could that be what it is? It doesn't justify it by any means, but at least it gives us a reason, and that reason is stupidity over, what many think is just another example of elitists putting their wants, their actions in front of us in plain sight. We've spoken about this for years. We're talking about the symbology. Symbols seem to pop up in children's media. That's where they're prevalent now. Disney are the most guilty for it. I've got a podcast on the website, Parental Guidance, Symbology. Go watch that after this if you need a refresher on pedophile and predatory symbology. So France, this long-running history with cinema. I mean, come on. Cinema, literature, publications, the fashion industry, all these things. We're going to pick on France first. Now, just to sort of paint you a picture of the level of abuse that takes place in France, we're going to go down a journey lane, shall we say. We're going to look at some reports online from the last couple of years. So let's take a look. Oh, there's some familiar words here. Most wanted pedophile mastermind behind darknet sites that serve thousands across the globe is arrested. Police in France have arrested a man who described as one of the top 10 most wanted targets by authorities in fighting sexual crimes. The top 10 most wanted for sexual crimes. The suspect is believed to have created several darknet pedophile websites. The police investigators arrested a man in his 40s in a French city of Bordeaux. The man was also charged with the rape and sexual assault of underage girls. So production, distribution, and profit. Now, the authorities don't mess around when it comes to a certain level in the tier system of these abusers. Like in everything, you have the bottom feeders and then you have the top of the pile, regardless of that, whether that's coffee shops or pedophiles. We've seen it countless times. The royals, allegedly. And the amount of stories that come out about politicians and people in power, we all know just how shocking it is. Oh, that's the wrong button. Oh, and that's the wrong button. There we go. Sorry, gotta do it again. There we go. So, the history of child abuse isn't just native to France, okay? At all. Oh, little D. Oh, thank you very, very much. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much, little D. I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, if you're in the UK, do you remember Gary Glitter? You remember the outrage, the public just disgust at the man. And I wanted to start this by saying this is not a reflection of everyone in France at all. This is a reflection of the media, the politicians, the people in charge of child safety, the lawmakers, the religious figures, the doctors, positions of power. It's about them. Now we're going to look at an interesting individual called Gabriel Matzneff. He's a French writer, and he writes very passionately about his experiences with underage girls, the things he's done, the horrific crimes that he's committed. And he still publicly speaks. He still writes. He's an old man. But why, when we see an individual like this, is there a percentage of the people in France who will hold on to a different version and elevate these people? Another example of this was a Japanese cannibal who murdered and ate his girlfriend and is almost given celebrity status around Japan. Why? I don't know. I'm not criticizing if you're Japanese or anything like that. I'm just stating some facts. And that doesn't represent everyone. So here we go. He worked for leading newspapers, literally publications, appears on highbrow TV shows, and would regale interviewers and audiences with sublime pleasures of these horrific things, and spoke of such horrific acts and tourism as the one on the screen. Because the simple fact that we have an elitist acknowledging the existence of these things and his use of these things certainly isn't the first time, and I'm not saying this gives credibility, but when we have someone further up the ladder than a bottom feeder who saves up all year to fly out to Thailand and satisfy his filthy urges, we have somebody in the limelight who is open and admits to all of these horrific acts. And the sad part of this is, in every group, whether it's car enthusiasts, craft enthusiasts, or a disgusting individual that preys on children, they'll have friends, they'll have infrastructure and support networks of like-minded monsters. You have this problem of creating echo chambers when you're surrounded by people that agree with your tastes, and when your tastes are children. And these echo chambers are filled with police and doctors and politicians. The mindset makes the man when it comes to how far these individuals are willing to go. I need to get a new mic stand. Because what one person seems as morally right and the other depends on their circumstance and surrounding. And if you have got a country, okay, a country that allows a little girl to be raped by a dozen firemen and all of them escape charge, what precedent does that set for people who already think they can get away with whatever they want? We're going to cover that story later. I'm just going to have a quick cigarette and we'll have a wee chat. Oh, where's the music? Yeah. He does look creepy as fuck. Who have we got in here now? Mikey Plier, what is happening? The Space Marine, what is happening, mate? They are literally gloating. You're right. Wild Aussie, Simon, what is happening? Oh, listen. There's a reason why I kind of cut in and out of this, because it is a lot and it is shocking. I'm not trying to trivialize anything we're doing. I'm just getting back into the swing of it. And yeah, forgive me if you find these moments with music and me talking distasteful. It's my fucking channel. So, oh, it's Dino. What's happening, son? Fucking scamp. Lisa Gambit, what is happening? Yeah, what is happening? Joining you for a cigarette. Fantastic. It has been too long. It has been too long. But there's lots coming. In fact, I tell you what. Since there's over 100 people in here right now, would you like to have a look at the trailer for the new podcast? And that'll give me enough time to sit here and roll another cigarette. So if you would like to see the trailer for what do you all remember Internet Horrors, that series? Well, that's now a podcast. So spam one, and I'll play that for you now. I think it's a great trailer. I think it's going to be a great series. And okay, we're getting some good responses here. So, okay, like I wasn't going to anyway. Jeez. All right, so this is the trailer for Internet Horrors. Some of these interviews go back to the Surviving Life days. Do you know what I mean? So these have been a long time in the making. So enjoy. If I get a copyright strike and the sound goes off, I apologize because I stole the music, but it's fine. It's okay. It'll be fine.
I don't shoot kids. If I have to leave and come back, I will leave and come back. I'm not going to engage somebody with a kid right there. I don't shoot cops. I don't like shooting women at all, and I'm not going to shoot a kid.
Underneath the bridge, darkness sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped have all become my pets.
They were abusing me, tying me up. They were using dogs. They were forcing me to eat human shit, forcing me to drink urine, anything, everything. At that time, my stepson at the time was tiny in a buggy, and they didn't care if they done it in front of them.
And Louis would send peas to her directly to confirm that yes, my sister is being abused, and they had essentially forced the victim, the main victim, to set up a Snapchat account in which peas would approach her directly. She would send mild content of herself to prove that she's real, then money would be paid, and then the peers would receive the videos that had been provided by the father. And she has been approached by a man who goes by the name of Louis, who has procured her to be a sugar baby.
Underneath the bridge, darkness sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped have all become my pets, and I'm living off of grass and the drippings from the ceiling. It's okay to eat fish, 'cause they don't have any feelings.
Ja przyjaźniłem się z gangsterem.
He was friends with one of the gangsters.
Ten gangster miał dużego jakby mafiozo, z którym zna się od 20 lat.
And this gangster had a friend, a mafia friend, one of the bosses, you can say, that he was friends with him for 20 years. I mean, this gangster and one of the mafia bosses was friends. Patrick tried to make contact with him, with the child dealer, but it couldn't work out for like 2 months. He was trying to get to him by Skype, but escape.
Seks z dziewczynką i to jest wyrzut sumienia, który mu po prostu ryje panie do dziś.
And in Patrick's opinion, he thinks that this man is a pedophile. And he's not sure, but he thinks that he had sexual contact with one of the girls.
Yeah. Fucking... Yeah. So we're back. And that is the first major new
in a
series.
buggy, and they didn't
All right,
care
all
to
right,
go
all
in front of
right.
them.
Relax. That's the first major new content series. There are some collaborations, shall we say, and some series that I will be producing for other channels. That's what I'm sort of doing right now. It's good. So what do you guys think? Did you get... Oh, it got taken down for bullying child predators. If you go to the old channel links, you'll see the reason. Bullying and harassment. Harassment. Right, hang on a second. Give me some of this. And we'll jump back into this in one moment. Okay. I remember where we are now. So we have touched on the fact that people always use people being a product of their surroundings as a reason for their actions. Oh, this person was abused. I'm not surprised they done X, Y, and Z. Oh, this person's rich. I imagine they can do X, Y, and Z that I can't. There's these pretenses. And by having these elitists with this already elevated state of mind because of their status, who prey on children having no repercussions and protection and laws in place that will make most of you, it'll blow your mind. And we're going to get to that. So it moves on. Elitists, people in power, sexual tourism, and child predator behavior. So French paedophile who faced death by firing squad kills himself in prison after being accused of molesting 300 children and beating those who refused to sleep with him. Officers arrested Francois Abello Camille, 65, last month in a hotel in Jakarta, another place, obviously very sad about another place in the world where this sort of thing is rife. Choosing to end his own life, you can see him here. 300 children. Now, one moment. Yeah, okay. So this predator was a retiree, obviously been feeding his habit for years in Jakarta, and would lure young girls under the pretense of internet fame, modeling, child modeling, and lure them back to his hotel. And, you know. So France isn't alone. I'm just picking on France because the things that I discovered are so shocking, they need to be mentioned. There's been some very flaky laws on incest in France, and the more you delve into that, over time, the laws have been so flexible and so bizarre that it just adds more questions to how a society and a government can allow an infrastructure like this, which can only contribute to these individuals' mindsets. If I'm wrong, tell me, but I genuinely believe that when we look at killers and abusers and all of these individuals who are caught and on the TV, they often talk about what made them this way. But I'm applying that to an entire country. And that's the point I need you to absorb, I sort of embrace for this. So, yeah. Okay, now, one of the sort of final topics that we're going to touch on this evening is just reaffirming the theory of people in power, access to children, and how the adjacent state, I believe is the term, where authority figures have this pretense for us to agree with them, because especially when it comes to medical and law enforcement, because obviously if they get it wrong, the responsibility falls on them, and it gives us this safety net for agreeing with the opinions, if you're sat on the fence and a lawyer or a doctor gives you their opinion, some people hop sides based on the fact that, well, you know, this guy's in a position of power and he's saying it. So we apply that mindset to the nation. This mindset makes the man a product of their surroundings, and we look at positions of power one more time. Surgeon 69, feared to be France's worst ever paedophile, who may have abused 349 children over 30 years, goes on trial. These cases seem to be massive. And give me one moment, and we're going to delve into this. Just give me one moment, everybody. Hi there, sorry about that. Thank you very much for waiting. So, there's been cases in the UK, all over the world, of individuals like this. Doctors, authors, politicians, whatever. But the fact that France, a nation of such prestige within the EU, would take so long to sew up loopholes in their laws and the way they conduct their country. So this is just from last year. France's elite confronted by sexual abuse scandals. Anna Tumoz, I'm going to butcher that, chose a powerful hashtag to highlight the sexual abuse at France's top political science college. Sciences Po, the training ground for the country's presidents, politicians, and ambassadors. This is the epicenter of creating new politicians, new people of power for this country. And when we dial back from current abusers at the top of the scale, and we dial back to where they begin their journey, we only have to assume it's in a place like this. And when it exists so prevalently that people are protesting and hashtags go viral, it can only mean that mindset makes the man from day one for these elitists. It's a horrible thought to think that the world is full of Epsteins, that the world is full of these untouchable monsters. You can understand why horrific things happen in countries that you would consider underdeveloped from a judgmental Westerner's mind. We kind of accept horrors that happen when we can say, well, look how different that culture is to mine. But when the culture is from a place that effectively should be setting standards for countries that surround it, France is just the first country we're delving into. But these nations have to answer for the crimes they've allowed to happen. Thank you very, very much, Tricia. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much. I will be sticking around for a chat at the end. We will be having a bit of a chat. Now, the elitists around the world, whether it's France, whether it's UK, America, whatever, there's no shortage of theories, conspiracy theories. But when we look at the individuals who are caught and tried and sentenced, those who blow their heads off, companies who pull advertising campaigns because of outrage, because of pedo chic becoming this normalized artistic representation of relations with children, there has to be more. There has to be more that there has to be more repercussions for companies like Balenciaga. There should be, forgive my crude example, but in the same way as if at 3 o'clock in the morning, oh, hang on a second, I'm getting a buffer warning from YouTube. Give me 1 second. Let me know if it's buffering or anything. Just type 1. Type 1 if everything's okay and YouTube's lying. And I'll just wait here until that disappears with my bamboo straw, because part of the solution. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Just let me know. Is it buffering? It's okay now. Okay, nice. All right. So, countries allowing this mindset to sort of flourish. You might be thinking to yourself, well, it can't really be that bad. We're not going to touch on this story this evening. This is one for another night. But I'm going to give you a fine example of laws that were just recently passed to save children from abusers. And I want you to read this very carefully, because you are seeing correctly what this says. Justice at last. France passes historic law setting age of consent to 15 after 20 firefighters dodged rape charge for sex with 13-year-old. That was last year. Personally, I am outraged that this wasn't something that was around the world, like Gary Glitter, like Epstein. These are people, firefighters. And when you find out what the age of consent was, it'll make you even more infuriated. But understand, apparently, the best thing they could do was make the age of consent 15 years old. We're going to delve into that story, like I say, a little bit later on in the week. And just for now, we're going to have a little chat. If you guys, any of you's missed the start of this, this is a sort of trial for me for how I'm going to be recording some of the content I'm going to be bringing out, where we do a live show and I cut parts out of it, and when the series is complete, I sort of jazz it up, make it look presentable as content that doesn't have us chatting and things. What is this music, mate? Jesus. And yeah, why not give that a try? But this has been such a long time coming. It really, 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 really has. And I think we've had a fantastic first stream back. Let me just have a wee look here. I've not really been paying that much to it. Hang on a second. Oh wow, we had like 114 people on at one point. Jesus. I know we've been sitting pretty at 100, so I mean that's fantastic. Thank you. Your house tour, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm definitely. You still hate Edinburgh. That's okay. That's okay. You're allowed to have a different opinion. I'll definitely be jumping on Discord, and I'll be opening Discord up. It's been quite a successful night. The Discord that I'm currently on is actually the wonderful Randy's, and I have got the old Discords. I'm going to try and re-engage with those. Please, yeah, please, listen, if we can get this up to over 100 likes, that would be massive for the algorithm. Massive. If we can get 100 viewers and 100 likes on a stream, it is massive for me, and it costs you nothing, so please. I didn't see your message, brother, I'm sorry. Oh, I will grab a beer. Thank you very much, Simon. In fact, you know what?
I'm John Cena!
Oh, yes. So, again, I will be setting up another Discord or re-engaging one of the old ones, because it's time. It's time to get back and just get back into the swing of it all, you know? And I'm excited. I just want to say a big, massive shout out to my brother Shane, going through some mad shit. And I just want to say I love you lots. Thank you for all your support. Even when your life was a fucking nightmare, you've always been there for me. And Lisa, thank you very, very much as well. Also, big shout out to Mac, to Shelby. It sounds weird to say, Mac has been sort of a DJ to the soundtrack of my life for the last 18 months. And yeah, Leanne, I honestly don't think I would be mentally where I am if it wasn't for Leanne being so concerned that I was going to throw myself off a bridge for a while, that she just was there. And I want to say thank you. Randy, you go without saying. You're my meme lord, okay? You're the guy that gets something messing us up. Just give me some ones in the chat if we're back. That would be super handy. And I'm going to jump on Discord after this, and then I'm going to jump on Twitch. Are we back? We should be back. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But the new internet goes in on the 16th. Until then, we might be a little bit patchy. So if you go to projectroot.com, like I showed you earlier, and you click on the menu, you'll get a link to Twitch. I'm going to go and set up the Twitch stream right now. We'll be live on Twitch by 10:30. Come and join us. I'm going to test the internet, ironically enough, and it would be great to see you all there. Thank you everyone for your support tonight. It's been a fantastic first night back, and I look forward to more of these this week, and getting back into the flow. Like I say, getting back into the flow is massive, and I'd rather quit while I'm ahead. So if you guys just, like I say, head over to projectroot.com. I will see you all on Twitch. And again, I just want to thank you all so much for all your support. I love you guys, and I will see you shortly on Discord. And if you're not on Discord, I'll see you on Twitch.